Okay, maybe time to tackle some of that massive codex that we have going on. And what's in our journal, though, first off? Right. Find the beacon. The beacon was destroyed. Before it self-destructed, it burned horrific images of death and galactic destruction into your mind. Whether these are images of the past or warnings of the future, you can't really say. And nobody's going to believe us. Go to the cockpit and tell Joker to bring Normandy into the dock at the Citadel. Got it. No assignments still. Okay, so we have primary and secondary, a lot of reading. I hope you like my voice, because that's what you're going to hear for a while. The personal history summary, I'm not going to go over this because it just goes over what happened to us in the character creation. So, assuming you watched episode 1, then you would know all this already. Citadel and Galactic Government. Okay, this is just all about the Citadel, which is this giant structure out in space. I do remember going to the Citadel back in Mass Effect 2, which was like, when I played it was 10 plus years ago. It was a long time. Humanity and the Systems Alliance. This is the timeline of humanity, basically as we explored space. 2069. Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater becomes the first human settlement on Luna. It is formally founded on July 24th, the 100th anniversary of the first lunar landing. So we're calling the moon now Luna, I guess? And it's the first settlement. 2103, Lowell City in Eos Chasma becomes the first human settlement on Mars. 2137, Eldfell Ashland Energy Corporation demonstrates helium-3 fuel extraction from the atmosphere of Saturn. 2142, construction of Gagarin Station Jump 0 begins beyond the orbit of Pluto. 2148, prospectors discover the Prothean ruins at Prometheus Planum on Mars. Oh, so we discovered Prothean ruins on Mars, on our Mars. So they were all the way in our solar system. That's interesting. 2149, translation of Prothean data leads humans to the Charon mass relay. Systems Alliance founded to coordinate exploration and colonization of extrasolar worlds. 2151, a shipping accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposes downwind communities to containers of dust form Element 0. Alliance begins construction of Arcturus Station. Element 0, if I recall correctly from Mass Effect 2, Element 0 is the stuff that turns people into biotics. 2152, roughly 30% of the children born in Singapore after Element 0 exposure suffer from cancerous growths. Systems Alliance begins settlement of Earth's first extrasolar colony world, the planet Demeter. Okay, well, it is 2152, so I would hope by this point we have probably cured cancer, so those children would hopefully live. Just have to get treatment. 2154, Shepard is born. 2155, Systems Alliance occupies completed portions of Arcturus Station as a headquarters. 2156, some children of Singapore exhibit minor telekinetic abilities. 2157, Turians encounter human explorers, First Contact War, occupation and liberation of the human colony of Shanxi. So we got in a fight with the Turians when we were exploring, and that instigated the First Contact War. 2158, humans learn potential of biotics, an international effort to track Element 0 exposures begins. Roughly 10% of exposed children show some level of biotic ability. 2160, Systems Alliance Parliament formed. 2165, humans establish embassy on Citadel. 2170, Batarian slavers attack the Alliance colony of Mindwar. That's what happened to us, right? 2176, Skillian Blitz, pirates and slavers attacked Elysium, the human capital in the Skillian Verge. Oh, we were there, right? Because we're a war hero? Because we chose that for our past? We defended Elysium from pirates and slavers. 2177, Thresher Maws devour the Alliance colony of Akuz. That sucks. Really bad way to go. 2178, in retaliation for the Skillian Blitz, an Alliance fleet wipes out an army of slavers and on the moon of Torfan. And 2183, 5 years later, is the current date. I mean, fair enough, wiping out slavers, I guess. Hope that they didn't kill their slaves, too. Starships sensors. Light lag prevents sensing in real time at great distances. A ship firing its thrusters at the Charon relay can easily be detected from Earth, 5.75 light hours or 6 billion kilometers away, but Earth will only see the event 5 hours and 45 minutes after it occurs. Due to the high-speed limit, defenders can't see enemies coming until they have already arrived. Because there is faster-than-light travel and communications but no faster-than-light sensors, frigates are crucial for scouting and picket duties. Passive sensors are used for long-range detection, while active sensors are obtained short-range, high-quality targeting data. Passive sensors include visual, thermographic, and radio detectors that watch and listen for objects in space. A powered ship emits a great deal of energy. The heat of the life support systems, the radiation given off by power plants and electrical equipment, the exhaust of the thrusters. Starships stand out plainly against the near absolute zero background of space. Passive sensors can be used during FTL travel, but incoming data is significantly distorted by the effects of the mass effect envelope and Doppler shift. Active sensors are radars and high-resolution LiDARs, laser detection and ranging, that emit a ping of energy and listen for return signals. LiDARs have a narrower field of view than radar, but LiDAR resolutions allow images of detected objects to be assembled. Active sensors are useless when a ship is moving at FTL speeds. Light lag. I guess I never thought about that, but yeah, literally you can see forever in space except that there's light lag. Weapons and ammo. The development of practical manufacturing omni-tools allows modern militaries a great deal of flexibility in equipment loadouts. A vast number of field modification kits or upgrades are available for common equipment such as weapons, armor, omni-tools, bionic amps, and even grenades. An upgrade kit typically consists of less than a dozen unique parts and an optical storage disk. When loaded into an Omni-tool, the OSD provides all technical specifications required to manufacture the tools and additional parts necessary to install the upgrade onto another piece of equipment. Assembly is typically modular and installation can be completed in less than a minute. So you can just build whatever part you need, you just need the schematics pretty much. Since Omni-tools are designed to use common battlefield salvage materials such as plastics, ceramics, and light metals rendered into semi-molten Omni-gel for quick use, it is quite possible for a trained soldier carrying upgrade kits to customize gear on the battlefield to fit the current tactical situation. Yeah. So you could literally just change out your type of bullets or your upgrades on your weapon, create different upgrades right there, assuming that you have the schematics for it in your Omni-tool. Okay, aliens, council races.
Roughly 1,200 years ago, the Turians were invited to join the Citadel Council to fulfill the role of galactic peacekeepers. The Turians have the largest fleet in Citadel space, and they make up the single largest portion of the Council's military forces. As their territory and influence has spread, the Turians have come to rely on the Solarians for military intelligence and the Asari for diplomacy. Despite a somewhat colonial attitude towards the rest of the galaxy, the ruling hierarchy understands they would lose more than they would gain if the other two races were ever removed. Turians come from an autocratic society that values discipline and possesses a strong sense of personal and collective honor. There is lingering animosity between Turians and humans over the First Contact War of 2157. which is known as the Relay 314 incident to the Turians. Officially, however, the two species are allies, and they enjoy civil, if cool, diplomatic relations.
The Relay 314 incident. I really want to know more about the First Contact War. Is there anything in here that goes over that? I'm sure there probably is at some point. I also want to know more about the weapons and equipment because we just learned about that. Let me do this one first.
Combat hard suits use a dual-layer system to protect the wearer. The inner layer consists of fabric armor with kinetic padding. Areas that don't need to be flexible, such as the chest or shins, are reinforced with sheets of lightweight, ablative ceramic. The outer layer consists of automatically generated kinetic barriers. Objects traveling above a certain speed will trigger the barrier's reflex system and be deflected, provided there is enough energy left in the shield's power cell. Armored hard suits are sealable to protect the wearer from extremes of temperature and atmosphere. Standard equipment includes an onboard mini-frame and a communications, navigation, and sensing suite. The mini-frame is designed to accept and display data from a weapon's smart targeting system to make it easier to locate and eliminate enemies.
Can I have this guy just read all my codex stuff for me? I'm really happy that they do the primary stuff, but it would have been nice if they did the secondary stuff too. It gives my voice a break. It's kind of nice. Okay, let's learn about shields here.
Kinetic barriers, more commonly called shields, provide protection against most mass accelerator weapons. Whether on a starship or a soldier's suit of armor, the basic principle remains the same. Kinetic barriers are repulsive mass effect fields, projected from tiny emitters. These shields safely deflect small objects traveling at rapid velocities. This affords protection from bullets and other dangerous projectiles, but still allows the user to sit down without knocking away their chair. The shielding afforded by kinetic barriers does not protect against extremes of temperature, toxins, or radiation.
Okay, good to know. So a laser would not really be deflected by a shield, which makes you wonder why laser weapons aren't more common since they would go right through shields. Seems like it'd be a good idea. Or like maybe a high-tech freezing beam or flamethrowers. Those all would be quite good. And toxins? It's interesting that they don't deflect toxins. Maybe they're talking about toxins as in like fumes and stuff, but what about like acid? If someone squirts some acid at you, would that get deflected since it's kind of I suppose probably not. They're designed to deflect only stuff that would be dangerous to you in terms of the speed is coming at you.
50,000 years ago, the Protheans were the only spacefaring species in the galaxy. They vanished in a swift galactic extinction. Only the legacy of their empire remains. They are believed to have built the mass relays and the Citadel, which have allowed numerous species to explore and expand throughout the galaxy. Prothean ruins are found on worlds across the galaxy. While surprisingly intact for their age, functioning examples of Prothean paleotechnology are rare. Time and generations of looters have picked their dead cities and derelict stations clean. Some believe the Protheans meddled in the evolution of younger races. The Hanar homeworld of Kajay, for example, shows clear evidence of former Prothean occupation. The presence of a former Prothean observation post on Mars has caused a rebirth of interventionary evolutionists among humans. These individuals believe the god myths of ancient civilizations are misremembered encounters with aliens.
Ancient aliens, nice. Okay, so Protheans were a race that was around 50,000 years ago, but they're now extinct, and they are the reason why most races end up being able to join the galactic community as a whole because the distances are too great for different species to get together pretty much. But they find the mass relays, which the Protheans built, and other technology that has been left over as artifacts on their planets, and that allows them to travel to places and give improvements to their ships and stuff that allows them to go greater distances and find other life. Non-council races.
The Geth are a humanoid race of networked AIs. They were created by the Quarians 300 years ago as tools of labor and war. When the Geth showed signs of self-evolution, the Quarians attempted to exterminate them. The Geth won the resulting war. This example has led to legal, systematic repression of artificial intelligences in galactic society. The Geth possess a unique distributed intelligence. An individual has rudimentary animal instincts, but as their numbers and proximity increase, the apparent intelligence of each individual improves. In groups, they can reason, analyze situations, and use tactics, as well as any organic race. Geth space is located at the trailing end of the Perseus Arm, beyond the lawless Terminus systems. The Perseus Veil, an obscuring dark nebula of opaque gas and dust, lies between their space and the Terminus systems.
Okay, so we've heard about a bunch of different places so far. The Atticus Traverse, which is where I think we are from, the colonies that we're from. The Terminus systems, which are lawless and are not under council control. They are separate, and apparently they have no formal form of government there, it seems like. More like a might makes right type of area. Geth space is located at the trailing end of the Perseus Arm, beyond the lawless Terminus systems. The Perseus Veil, an obscuring dark nebula of opaque gas and dust, lies between their space and the Terminus systems. So you have our area, council space, and then you have the Terminus systems, which is further out, and then you have the Perseus Veil, which separates Geth space from the Terminus systems. Okay, got the geography down, I think. It's interesting that the Geth are, by themselves, not that smart or a threat, but because when they are nearby to other Geth, they become sort of networked, like a neural network, which is a real thing that we have today. The AI becomes smarter and smarter and eventually becomes self-aware. That's kind of the premise of our current quote-unquote AI. It's not true AI that we have right now. It's just a simple algorithm that is programmed to respond to you in a certain way, the best way that it can, and through iteration, it finds the best way to respond. However, that's basically how humans learn too. We learn through thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of interactions with the world around us, and we learn through trial and error. So we're teaching the current quote-unquote AI, even though it's not true AI yet, we're teaching that in the same way that we learn. So this is not really out of the bounds of feasibility, that if you create a race of robots, not a race, but if you create a bunch of robots that had algorithms within them that perceive and learn from the world around them and can be tasked with simple things, but when they are together, their neural network becomes stronger and stronger to the point of becoming self-aware. The Geth showed signs of self-evolution, and the Quarians attempted to exterminate them. So the Quarians struck first. Their creation showed that they were sentient, or possibly sentient, and the Quarians were not willing to, number one, lose their form of cheap labor, or number two, they weren't willing to risk the fact that the Geth might become sentient and war against them, so they decided to strike first, which you can't really blame them for that, I suppose. I think most races would respond the same way, but from a Geth's perspective, if you can consider a Geth truly sentient or worthy of consideration of rights and such, they did nothing wrong. Interesting to think about. Non-sapient creatures.
After the Geth secure a location, they round up and impale dead and living bodies on mechanical spikes. The spikes rapidly transform these victims into withered husks, extracting water and trace minerals, and replacing them with cybernetics. The cybernetics reanimate the lifeless flesh and tissue, transforming the bodies into mindless killing machines. Some Alliance soldiers refer to the husk-generating spikes as dragon's teeth, a reference to the mythological berserkers who sprang up from the earth wherever the teeth of the dragon Eris were planted. Dragon's teeth and husks bear little resemblance to other pieces of Geth technology. No one is sure why a synthetic race would bother to drain the minuscule amount of recoverable resources from organic corpses, though the value of reusing them as shock troops is obvious.
The husks are basically space zombies. and they're very, very tough to kill. They had a lot more health, for instance, than the other enemies, though they are melee only. Well, they have like a proximity area of effect damaging thing they can do, which is really dangerous, it seems like, but they can't do anything from range. But they always get to you because they have so much health, so I think crowd control is the best way to deal with them. It is interesting that the Geth reuse them like that. It's also very brutal. It's probably as much for psychological horror to inflict upon your enemies as anything else.
The Citadel is an ancient deep space station, presumably constructed by the Protheans. Since the Prothean extinction, numerous species have come to call the Citadel home. It serves as the political, cultural, and financial capital of the galactic community. To represent their interests, most species maintain embassies on the Presidium, the Citadel's inner ring. The Citadel Tower in the center of the Presidium holds the Citadel Council chambers. Council affairs often have far-reaching effects on the rest of the galactic community. 5 arms, known as the wards, extend from the Presidium. Their inner surfaces have been built into cities, populated by millions of inhabitants from across the galaxy. The Citadel is virtually indestructible. If attacked, the station can close its arms to form a solid, impregnable shell. For as long as the station has existed, an enigmatic race called the Keepers has maintained it.
Okay, so this would be the Presidium right here, and then these extending out would be the wards, is my understanding of that. Constructed by the Protheans, and we're all living on it. Interesting. Just makes you wonder, why did the Protheans go extinct then? If they built all this stuff, where'd they go? I'm sure we'll find it eventually. Let's learn more about Spectres.
Spectres are agents from the Office of Special Tactics and Reconnaissance, and answer only to the Citadel Council. They are elite military operatives, granted the authority to deal with threats to peace and stability in whatever way they deem necessary. They operate independently or in groups of 2 or 3. Some are empathetic peacekeepers, resolving disputes through diplomacy. Others are cold-blooded assassins, ruthlessly dispatching problem individuals. All get the job done one way or another, often operating outside the bounds of galactic law. The Spectres were founded after the Solarians joined the Council. For many years, they operated in secrecy as backroom problem solvers. Only after the Krogan rebellions did their activities become publicized. Assignment of a Spectre is less contentious than a military deployment, but makes it clear that the Council is concerned about a situation.
Only after the Krogan rebellions. I remember the Krogans from Mass Effect 2 as well. So they rebelled at some point, and we only heard about the Spectres recently, unless the Krogan rebellions were like a long time ago, but I don't think they were.
Humanity's first contact with an alien race occurred in 2157. At that time, the Alliance allowed survey fleets to activate any dormant mass relays discovered, a practice considered dangerous and irresponsible by Council-aligned races. When a Turian patrol discovered a human fleet attempting to activate a relay, they attacked. 1 human vessel survived, retreating to the colony of Shanxi. The Turians followed, quickly defeating the local forces. Shanxi was occupied, the first and to date only human world to be conquered by an alien species. The Turians believed the handful of ships they defeated represented the bulk of human defenses, so they were unprepared when the Second Fleet, under Admiral Castany Drescher, launched a strong counteroffensive, evicting them from Shanxi. The Turians mobilized for full-scale war, drawing the attention of the rest of the galaxy. The Council quickly intervened, forcing a truce. Fortunately for humanity, the First Contact War was ended with a diplomatic solution.
So the Turians attacked us. We were just explorers. Couldn't they have tried diplomacy first? It's kind of crap that they attacked us first, you know? We were just doing what any other race probably would have done, which was exploring and activating Mass Effect relays to be able to travel further into space, and they just attacked us right away. But we actually kicked their butts, which is interesting because by that point, you'd have to think we probably hadn't had any severe conflict in space, so how much of our fleet would have actually been equipped for war, basically. Plus, we would have had no idea what the other races would have in store for us in terms of weaponry and armor and defenses and such. And most of them are a lot more ancient than us. I mean, we've only been in space for 100 years at this point. At that point, you know? So the fact that we fought off the Turians is pretty cool. Though I think if they had brought their full fleet to bear on us, we would have been wiped out probably.
The Systems Alliance is an independent supranational government representing the interests of humanity as a whole. The Alliance is responsible for the governance and defense of all extrasolar colonies and stations. The Alliance grew out of the various national space programs as a matter of practicality. Sol's planets had been explored and exploited through piecemeal national efforts. The expense of colonizing entire new solar systems could not be met by any one country. With humans knowing that alien contact was inevitable, there was enough political will to jointly fund an international effort. Still, the Alliance was often disregarded by those on Earth until the First Contact War. While the national governments dithered and bickered over who should lead the effort to liberate Shanxi, the Alliance fleet struck decisively. Post-war public approval gave the Alliance the credibility to establish its own parliament and become the galactic face of humanity.
So nations on Earth still kind of exist, it seems like, but because humanity was kind of united in their war against the Turians in the First Contact War, and the Alliance were the ones that got the job done there by liberating Shanxi, the Alliance kind of became sort of the overall government of the human races, like the human nations. I suppose it's all rather complicated because all the various nations have their own self-interest at heart on Earth, but because you're now part of this larger galactic community, you have to work together because it's going to be humans versus everybody else.
The terminus systems are located on the far side of the Attican Traverse, beyond the space administered by the Citadel Council or claimed by the Human Systems Alliance. It is populated by a loose affiliation of minor species, united only in their refusal to acknowledge the political authority of the Council or adhere to the Citadel conventions. Their independence comes at a price. The terminus is fraught with conflict. War among the various species is common, as governments and dictators constantly rise and fall. The region is a haven for illegal activities, particularly piracy and the slave trade. At least once a year, a fleet from the terminus invades the nearby Attican Traverse. These attacks are typically small raids against poorly defended colonies. The Council rarely retaliates, as sending patrols into the terminus systems could unify the disparate species against their common foe, triggering a long and costly war.
I see. So the terminus systems don't have any formal government. It's more of a might makes right type of place where I'm sure that there are relatively peaceful places where many different races live together, but because, well, slave trade is legal, piracy is legal there. I mean, well, not legal, but if you can get away with it, you can get away with it. But if you take something from someone, there could be retaliation, right? And there probably are areas where there is some form of law to some extent, because that's just kind of how the world has to work. It can't be total and complete anarchy. There are probably some systems in the terminus systems that are more, not nice places, but they're not quite as rough as other places where anything goes. Okay, that is officially everything. Thank you for sticking with me with all the codex stuff. We have one more codex reading about Metagel.
Combat hard suits use it. Metagel is a common medicinal salve used by paramedics, EMTs, and military personnel. It combines several useful applications: a local anesthetic, disinfectant, and clotting agent all in one. Once applied, the gel is designed to grip tight to flesh until subjected to a frequency of ultrasound. It is sealable against liquids, most notably blood, as well as contaminants and gases. The gel is a genetically engineered bioplasm created by the CERTA Foundation, a medical technology megacorp based on Earth. Technically, Medigel violates Council laws against genetic engineering, but to date, it has proved far too useful to ban.
So, humanity has already contributed a very useful thing to the galaxy as a whole, which is Medigel. And yet we are not part of the Council, not deemed worthy enough to be part of the Council yet. Too young of a race.
Hey, Commander.
There's Ashley, our newest soldier.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. The crew could use some good news after what happened to Jenkins.
Jenkins was a valuable part of this crew.
Part of me feels guilty over what happened. If Jenkins was still alive, I might not be here.
You're a good soldier, Williams. You belong on the Normandy.
Thanks, Commander. That means a lot from you. I've never met anyone who was awarded the Star of Terra.
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
Plus, having your friends and previous comrades being turned into space robot zombies is probably a bit traumatic as well, I'd imagine.
We couldn't have done it without you, Williams.
Thanks, Commander. I have to admit, I was a little worried about being assigned to the Normandy. It's nice when someone makes you feel welcome.
I think you're gonna fit in here just fine, Williams.
Thanks, Commander.
Hooray, more Paragon points. Speaking of, should I... Oh, I only have 1 point. Should I invest more to Charm? Sets Charm score at 5 and opens up new dialogue options. I think I'm okay with my points for right now. I think I'm going to probably try to max out my Charm as fast as I can, just so I can make sure I don't miss any dialogue stuff. Also have the Doctor here, who we've already met.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth, or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
What do you know about Captain Anderson?
I've served with him for a few tours now. He knows when to let things slide and when to crack the whip. The crew knows he's seen pretty much anything they'll ever run into. And he cares about the people under his command.
How well do you know the Lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific side effects. Caden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
So we are a biotic as well. So the implant, is that different from the amp that we use, the biotic amp? I suppose it probably is, because it doesn't sound like you can just easily swap out an implant, whereas you can swap out pretty easily a biotic amp. Speaking of Caden...
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
Okay, he doesn't want to talk right now.
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
That's fine. We'll talk with you later. Where to next? Oh, it's our captain.
Go speak to Joker when you're ready.
Okay.
Tell him to bring the Normandy into dock.
But does anyone else want to talk to me? Nope. This is back there. Is there, There's no elevator on this. Oh no, there is an elevator. The bridge is up top. What's downstairs? I haven't gone down here yet. The Normandy's vehicle bay. Using a squad member's locker allows you to assign equipment to them. New equipment may be purchased from the requisitions officer. We have the Mako here, which we'll be getting acquainted with pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. Alliance Requisition Officer.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
So, because you can essentially 3D print things at this point, can you simply 3D print arms and armor? Is that a thing? And the licenses, I'd assume, are the schematics and ability to make those things?
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Okay, he has lots of stuff, and it's way better than ours because it's like rank 4 already, rank 3. We can sell stuff here too. These phasic rounds I'm not really a fan of, so I'm gonna get rid of those. The heavy armor I should probably keep around for now. Is this the automatic? Yeah, the 3-round burst sniper rifle. I'm gonna sell this, I don't really want it. These don't sell for very much, only 30 per, by the way, so not that great. I'm assuming that if I have not equipped them, they're probably pretty bad, so I'm just going to go ahead and sell the weapons that are spare here. This armor was awful too. The armor-piercing rounds we want to keep around for sure. The improved sighting might be good too. Oh, it's only 5% accuracy. Maybe for a companion might be good. Okay, that's good for now. So I should keep an eye out for licenses is what they're saying. So we have Caden's locker and Ashley's locker right now. We'll have 4 more companions. At least. Doubt they would leave lockers there for no reason. Field integrity monitor, right. We have like a special stealth drive on this ship, or a special thing that makes our ship more stealthy. That kind of makes me a little bit dizzy watching that spin. Codex. More codex stuff. Okay, we're not going to read it right now. I'll wait for that one.
Shame about Jenkins, Commander.
That's the curse of being Leroy Jenkins. I still think that's hilarious that they probably... That has to be a reference to WoW and to Leroy Jenkins. It's gotta be. So I think we're done except for going upstairs. There might be more to talk to up here. FTL comlink can examine this, so we can do faster than light communications. More codecs, okay. Presley, how you holding up, buddy?
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. Losing Jenkins was hard enough on the crew.
So I hear. Nav manual 1.4.1. Even more codecs. Okay. I know from Dragon Age that BioWare likes their codexes, so... Alright, I guess we're going to the Council.
Good timing, Commander. I was just about to bring us into the Citadel. See that taxpayer money at work.
So we do pay taxes, and we don't have a seat on the Council. This is outrageous. Taxation without representation.
Flagship of the Citadel fleet.
Well, size isn't everything.
Why so touchy, Joker?
I'm just saying you need firepower too.
Look at that monster. Its main gun could rip through the barriers in any ship in the Alliance fleet.
Good thing it's on our side then.
Citadel Control, this is SSV Normandy, requesting permission to land.
Stand by for clearance, Normandy. Clearance granted. You may begin your approach. Transferring you to an Alliance operator.
Roger, Alliance Tower. Normandy out.
Normandy, this is Alliance Tower. Please proceed to Dock 422.
This is an outrage! The Council would step in if the Geth attacked a Turian colony?
The Turians don't found colonies on the borders of the Terminus systems, Ambassador.
Humanity was well aware of the risks when you went into the Traverse.
What about Saren? You can't just ignore a rogue Spectre. I demand action!
You don't get to make demands of the Council, Ambassador.
Citadel Security is investigating your charges against Saren. We will discuss the CSEC findings at the hearing, not before.
Captain Anderson, I see you brought half your crew with you.
Just the ground team from Eden Prime, in case you had any questions.
I have the mission reports. I assume they're accurate?
They are. Sounds like you convinced the Council to give us an audience.
They were not happy about it. Saren's their top agent. They don't like him being accused of treason.
Saren's a threat to every human colony out there. He needs to be stopped. The Council has to listen to us.
Settle down, Commander. You've already done more than enough to jeopardize your candidacy for the Spectres. The mission on Eden Prime was a chance to prove you could get the job done. Instead, Nihilus ended up dead and the beacon was destroyed.
That's Saren's fault, not his.
Then we better hope the CSEC investigation turns up evidence to support our accusations. Otherwise, the Council might use this as an excuse to keep you out of the Spectres. Come with me, Captain. I want to go over a few things before the hearing. Shepard, you and the others can meet us at the Citadel Tower, top level. I'll make sure you have clearance to get in.
And that's why I hate politicians.
Okay. Map. Locations are marked. So we are on the Presidium, the inner area. We are supposed to go eventually to the tower, which is over here. I have no idea, honestly. I'm gonna walk around and talk to people a bit. Looking around the Citadel a bit. It's very cool. Kind of reminds me of Halo. The original Halo, that is. We're hacking into a computer already. Look at us. Oh, darn. Alliance Patrol report. Captain Hendrickson reported some unusual energy readings during a patrol of the Argos Rho cluster. She had particular concerns about the Hydra system, but was recalled before her team could investigate further. No patrols are scheduled for that sector. Do we want to send in a recon team? Possible quest opening up for us? Does that open up? Oh, an assignment. Okay, so assignments are kind of like we're just going to find these around the world. Side missions. Whoops. Wrong button. Okay, let's go this way then. Only way we can go. So we have... okay, we're over here. Oh, we're in the embassies, so we have the Volus and Elcor office. Whoops. Again, whoops. Recall, there we go.
I understand what you're saying, but these allegations are very serious. I can't just...
This is serious. My reputation is at stake. I spoke with the consort in confidence, and her alone, and she betrayed that confidence.
All right. I will look into it for you. In the meantime, do not do anything rash.
The consort.
Hello there, human. Sincere apology, but I am here on business and cannot be distracted right now.
You seem distressed. Is there something I can do to help?
Alarmed response. You overheard that, did you? This is all going so wrong, and it is the Asari consort's fault. She's the one who started all this.
What did this Asari do to get you so upset?
I cannot speak more about this problem. It is too sensitive. Suffice it to say, she has compromised my authority as a diplomat.
Where can I find this Asari consort?
She is across the bridge from here. Her offices are easy enough to spot. Good day, human.
Okay, there's a consort, an Asari consort, who has compromised this diplomat's authority.
Pleased greeting. Human, it is always good to see your kind. I am Ambassador Kalen. Genuine query. Is there something I can do for you this day?
Why do you explain what you're about to say?
Our people communicate less through words and more through scent and slight movements. Plainly, we discovered our vocal expression was not enough to convey the feelings of our conversations to other species.
Why do you bother, Kalen? These Earth Clan don't really care about our ways.
Remorseful response, Din. You don't truly believe that, and if you do, I am very sorry for you.
It's interesting that they all speak... I mean, obviously it's convenient for us because we're playing a video game, but they all speak, you know, English or whatever language you're playing this game in. They speak that, I'm sure. I suppose, though, that having a universal translator on your suit somewhere or an implant that does that is not out of the realm of possibility, I guess?
Tell me more about your species.
Genuine enthusiasm. I delight in telling the history of my people. It is agreeable to share our culture with others.
Tell me about the history and origins of the Elcor.
The Elcor were just beginning to explore Council space when the Asari first made contact with us.
With their help, we discovered the relay closest to our system, and from there the Citadel. Proudly, within one lifetime we established a regular route to the Citadel, and quickly became one of the more active species living on this great station.
And yet, I don't believe they are on the council. I wonder why that is. Why don't they have a representative on the council?
I'd like to know more about the culture of the Elcor.
Frankly, we Elcor prefer the safety and familiarity of our own colonies to the confines of space travel. Our society is built on small, tight-knit groups, though we are always welcoming to outsiders. Our government tends to be very stable. Our people are not very comfortable with sudden changes.
Okay, so that's the history and culture of the Elcor, and you are their ambassador, yes?
What do you do here?
Modestly, I work to bring the problems and the requests of the Elcor groups to the attention of the Council.
Ha! They only give us these positions to keep us quiet. The Council doesn't care about our races.
Chastising rebuke. Your tone is inappropriate, Din. This human is not to blame for your malcontent or your misconceived suspicions.
Goodbye, Ambassador.
Sincere farewell. Good day to you, human. Enjoy your time on the Citadel.
So unlike the humans, the Elcor were found pretty quickly by the Asari when they started journeying out into space, and they were brought peacefully into the fold of the galactic community, though not given a seat on the council. Whereas the humans immediately started a war with the Turians. Well, we didn't start a war, we just did something that the Turians thought was dangerous, or the council in general thought was dangerous, and so they started a war with us, so not really our fault.
EarthClan, you are in the wrong place, I think. Your ambassador is next door in the large office.
Chastising remark. Don't be so rude, Din. At least introduce yourself.
I am Din Korlak, Volus ambassador. Is there something I can do for you, EarthClan?
You seem to have a bit of a chip on your shoulder, Din.
You humans are new to the Citadel, and yet the Council has granted you great favor.
Chastising rebuke, Din. Your species has always been granted many concessions. Volus territory has expanded tenfold since coming to the Citadel.
Details. We still have no real say in the decisions that affect Citadel space.
Well, same as the humans and the Elcor, it sounds like.
I'd like to know more about the Volus.
I'm sure our history and culture would bore you, EarthClan.
Actually, I would like to know more about your history.
My people came to the Citadel shortly after the Asari and Solarians had discovered it. We were instrumental in establishing a standardized galactic economy. However, despite our long association with the Citadel and our many contributions to galactic society, we still do not hold a seat on the Council.
Tell me about Volus culture.
We are tribal by nature, but our ways are not violent. We barter and trade our lands and tribe members in order to increase status. Larger tribes often engulf smaller ones and eventually split again. Our society is very malleable, and our government is always shifting and changing. Since we're not physically adept, we trade our services for protection.
So they trade their people as well. The tribes trade everything that they can, including their people, but they don't consider it slavery. I'm sure they're probably treated much better, I'd hope. They're also very, very smart in terms of money. They help to establish the galactic economy. Okay.
What is this place?
You are in the embassy for the Volus and the Elcor.
Your ambassador is next door, in his own office.
In this shared space, I aid my fellow Volus when I'm not being interrupted.
So the Elcor and Volus are considered so lesser they don't even get their own office for their own embassy. They have to share a space. That is rather rude. It is rather, it's just rather rude.
What is it you do here?
I look out for the best interests of the Volus people. No easy task considering how often we are overlooked by the Council.
Chastising rebuke, Dan. The Council favors your species greatly.
You are naive. The Earth Clan will be invited to the Council long before our species will.
Why aren't the Volus or Elcor part of the Council?
All species must prove themselves before they join the Council. All but the Earth Clans, it would seem.
Dismissive. Ignore the Volus ambassador, human. He is incorrect in his assessment.
Really? How long have we been waiting? How long do you think we'll continue to wait? Bah, this talk is wasted on the humans.
Goodbye, Ambassador.
Yes, yes. Good day, Earth Clan.
And you are? Okay. So across the way here is the human embassy? Is that over here? That goes outside over here then. But we can't go in here because Udima and Captain Anderson are having a conversation for their ears only. Commander Shepard is not good enough.
Good day, Commander. The human ambassador is up the stairs, first room on the right.
You know who I am?
Yes, I receive reports on all newly arrived dignitaries and notable people.
What is this place?
This is the Presidium. More specifically, you are at the Citadel embassies. If you have more questions, please access Avina.
What's that?
Oh, Avina is the virtual guide for the Citadel. Feel free to access the terminal yourself.
What's your name? What do you do here?
My name is Sephiria. I'm the administrative assistant for the embassies.
You seem to be distracted.
The embassies are the hub of all Citadel politics. When you represent trillions of citizens, it tends to get a little busy.
I should be going now.
Have a pleasant day.
Hey, we leveled up just from talking to people.
Welcome to the Presidium. Allow me to be your